Hey everyone and welcome back. Now in today's video we'll be discussing about the remote execution functionality in console. Now remote execution can be used to run a certain set of commands to perform a desired action. Now this can be better explained with this diagram where you have a console server and you have two console clients. So let's say that you want to go ahead and enable the antivirus related process within all of the servers. So with the help of remote execution, you can go ahead and run that command and it will be executed in all the servers. And this is one of the primary aims here. So one of the examples that I can share is if you have worked with a configuration management tool like Ansible, you have Puppet, Chef, etc. So how we go ahead and write a code in those configuration management tool and we run it across all the servers. So something similar to that is the functionality of remote execution. So let's look into how we can perform the remote execution. So the overall syntax is console exec followed by the command that you want to run. In this case it is ping google.com. So when you do a console exec followed by the command, in this case it is ping with c1 google.com, it will go ahead and run it. So if you'll see in the output, this command was executed at the console.02 instance. So it is pinging and you're also getting the response back. So whatever response to this command was received, that is also something that you are able to see. So let's quickly do one thing. Let's go ahead and have a quick demo, post which we'll be discussing about few more important areas here. So for today's demo, I already have a console.01 where our agent is running in dev, and I also have a console.02 which is acting as a console client. So let's go ahead from console.01 server, run the console exec command. So I'll say console exec, and now you can specify the exact command that you want to run. Let's say ping c1 google.com. So immediately here you see that this specific command was run in the console.02 which acts as a console client. So it is pinging google.com. You are getting the response back over here, and it is also stating that it has finished with the exit code of 0. That means that this command was successful. Great. So I hope at a high level overview you understood what remote execution does. So now let's go ahead and try to implement it practically. So from the console.02, let's do a control C so that our agent gets stopped. And let's go ahead and connect our console client with the flags that we have studied, which is join, bind and data dir. So let's quickly do this. As expected, the node info is synced. Now from the console.01 server, if you quickly do a console members, you should see that there are two. One is the console.01 which is acting as a server, and console.02 which is acting as a client. So now let's go ahead and run console exec. Let's say ping c1 on google.com. Now here immediately you see that you have a 0 by 0 node completed acknowledged. So even though when you did a console exec nothing happened. So one of the important things that we need to know is that by default this functionality of console exec will not work. So let's quickly look into the important note here. So the remote execution functionality is disabled by default. If you want to make use of it, then you will have to enable it at a node level. So the command here is console agent followed by -HCL, and you specify disable remote exec is equal to false. So this will go ahead and enable the remote execution. So let's try it out. So let's quickly do a control C on the console client here. So along with join, bind and data dir, let's also specify HCL of disable remote exec is equal to false. As expected, our client is working. Now going back to the console.01 server, let's go ahead and do a console exec, and now you see it is working perfectly well. Our ping command is running in console.02. Now along with that, in fact you can go ahead and run it in any instance. So let's do control C even on the console server, and let's specify HCL of disable remote exec is equal to false. Alright, so now our console server has started. Now from the client, make sure that the client is connected. In fact, you can run the console members to verify if both of the instances are part of the cluster. So now if you do a console exec on ping, you will see that it runs both on the console 01 as well as the console 02. So in the node where you want to perform a remote execution, you can go ahead and specify the HCL of disable remote exec is equal to false. Now one more interesting thing that I wanted to show you, otherwise it would be a confusion here, is that many people assume that this console exec can only be run from the server side. However, that is not the case. Even though you are logged in to a console client server, still you will be able to run this command. Let me quickly show you this. So let me connect to the client. So now you see I am connected to console 02. Now let's do a console exec on ping c1 google.com. And here as well, you see that the command has run both on the console 01 as well as console 02 instance. That's great. So I hope with this you got a basic understanding about the remote execution functionality in console.